All right, so in this video, I'm going to talk about the methods for using missing data. In order to kind of mess around with this while I demonstrate, I'm going to use this template, so you can access that template if you so choose. And yeah, we can kind of code along. You can code along with me. Basically, what we're going to do is, we said earlier that if we have data that's missing some values, if it's integers and we're missing some integer values, we're going to use np.nan, not a number, to identify that there is yes, it is a number here. There's just nothing in that space. And for a string, we'd use none as the data type 2, so there's nothing there. Okay, methods. First method that we're going to have available is the isnull method. This is going to create a mask that's going to return, basically it's going to create this thing, where there is a mask of true and false values, depending if the value is null. So that means is nan, is not a number, or is none. If the thing is none, then we should replace that, then our mask will have a true value there. If there is actual data there, then is it null? No, so we'll say false. So when you look at this, we can see like the content of our sheet right here. For the most part, these are all going to be false because there is data there. There's only like, when we look earlier, there was only like 7 pieces of data in depth, snow depth that were missing. So if we choose, 15 of them, no, we're probably not likely to get the ones that are, if we choose 15 out of 365, we're not likely to get the ones that are missing. So yeah. However, using that alone, so I can pop over to my code. We can see this working. We can say like print df.isnull. If we run that, we're going to get this big giant sheet of information terminal. Yeah, we get all these false values just like what we were showing before. Let's see, what else can we do though? Oh, so what we actually need to do is we can't apply this directly as a mask. What we want to do is we want to look at this. We want to kind of check each row to see if there are any null values in there. Because that's really what I want to pull out, is I want to pull out the rows that contain a null value. So I need to convert my mask. I need to kind of just do something a little bit extra with my mask. So what I'm going to say here is I'm going to say this is going to produce this table here. I can add into here, I'm going to say .any, which basically says like, are there any true values in this table? And we're going to say axis 1 to say, when you're checking, I want you to check the rows. By default, if we don't put anything in here, if we just say axis is equal to, well, if we don't put anything, it will default to axis of 0, and it'll look through all the columns. For us, for the way we're going to use this, it just makes sense that we want to look through the rows. So we're creating this, null, this mask is null, and now we're going to go through and see like, okay, well, which ones contain true values? Let's see if I try and print this. I don't think this prints anything useful. Yeah, it's still kind of getting us the same thing, but you can see like in this row, there are no false values. In this row, and all these, there are no false values. It's still not so helpful. You know what I can do here? Let me add one additional thing that I could do on here. I think this should work. I should be able to say value counts. This might work. Let me just try this. I should try this before I run it. But yeah, so what we can see in here, so I'm just taking like, this thing is producing my singular list for saying like, is there a true value in each row, right? For the most part, no, there's not. In here, I'm getting my value counts from that thing. How many of them have, how many of them are false? How many of them are true? So we know there's like 7 rows that have, 7 rows where there was a missing value, where the is null thing is true. Whew. Okay, so with all that, I know that's a lot. Trying to see if we could break this down a little bit more. Okay, so yeah, so we just have just to come back to this. Great. That's what I want, discounts. So in here we have yeah, I think I have to say this again, but this is like, is there a false value? Is there a missing value in row 0? No. Is there 1 and 1? No. 2, 3, 4? No, no, no. We can then apply this mask to our entire data set. So let's see, this is like our check. Let's see, how about mask for nulls? How about that? Is equal to this. And now what we need to do is we need to say df mask for nulls. And we're going to do print. And when we run this, it's going to apply this mask to the data frame And it's only, and of course, when we do the mask, it's only going to pull out the values that are true. So these are all the rows that have a missing value. And in this case, we know that it's only the snows. All the other ones had 365 in each count. But we can see in snow depth, here they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the 7 rows that did not have any data with them. If you reference back to the document, I try and break this down into some more detail of like how this happens, like what we're producing at each step. So you can look back through this. Hopefully between the two, you can get a sense for this. Also, you know, what I like about the way I think about this is we're getting a mask of a mask of a mask. So hopefully that's a good way of visualizing it. And I think the one other thing that I would say on here is like there is a method for not null. I'm not sure that we use it as much, but certainly you could use it to find the values that are there. I guess it just kind of depends on what you want to do. All right, so I'm going to stop it there, and we'll continue with some drop NA.